Good morning. Welcome. So, we'll start today in a seated position as we often do. So, if you're not already on your mat in your seat, go ahead and come onto your mat and into your seat. And typically, if you're sitting directly on the floor, it's also sometimes nice to sit up on a cushion. So, take a moment to arrange yourself into your comfortable seat. And then let your eyes close as you begin to notice how you're feeling today. So, whether you're practicing with me live here in the morning or whether it's a different time of day, take a moment to check in to see how you're feeling as you begin your practice. And as you're doing that, notice not only any physical sensations that might be present, like areas that might be tight or stiff, or areas that have been worked recently. Maybe there are activities that you're doing this time of year, gardening, I hear a lot. But also what kind of thoughts and what emotions are present for you as you begin your practice. And then we'll begin to deepen the breath so that each breath is a little bit slower, a little bit longer than the last. And you'll start to notice that as you breathe in this way, you start to anchor your attention into the present. So we spend a lot of time thinking about the past and the future, but this practice is not just for the body, it's also a practice of focusing the attention on the present. And as you continue to slow and deepen your breath, we'll guide our palms together in front of the heart. We'll interlace our fingers, press the palms forward and up. And begin to reach up through one hand and up through the other side, left and right. A couple of times, gently tugging on the fingers, lengthening each arm, each side of the body, down to the low back on either side. All right, as you let your hands separate, release them all the way down to the floor. And then just start to walk the right hand out and lean into it. Take your left hand to your left shoulder and begin to circle. Take a few circles in one direction. And then a few circles the opposite way. All right, sweep your left hand all the way up and over. And then begin to squeeze and release the fingers of that left hand. All right, with your next inhale, lift up. And with your exhale, release your left hand down. And then we'll slide the left hand out. Just lean into it. We'll take the right hand to the right shoulder and start with those rotations. Always good to check in with your shoulders. And change directions. All right, and then sweep your right hand all the way up and over. Begin to squeeze and release the fingers, as well as rotate through your wrist a few times each way. All right, as you next inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, release your hand down. All right, so we'll transition onto hands and knees. As you come onto hands and knees, we'll just start with the hands about shoulder distance apart, but we'll take the knees close together. And then lift the left knee up and out to the side. Pause there a moment to activate your foot. So as you activate your foot, you're kind of sensing into all of your toes. You're feeling the muscles in your foot activate. And you may even be noticing sensation up into your hip simply by activating your foot. All right, and then from here, begin to rotate. A couple of circles in one direction. And then a couple circles the opposite way. All right, with your next in breath, reach the left foot back. With your out breath, pull your left knee into your chest. Again, inhale back. Exhale forward. One more like that, breathing in and breathing out. So as you take your left leg back this time, cross it over the right leg, drop the toes, and then curve your spine to the right. So you're peeking back at your left foot, sensing up the left side of the body from the foot to the hip to the shoulder. All right, as you bring your torso back to neutral, take this left foot forward to the left hand. And we're just stepping into a short lunge to start so that as you lift your torso up, your front knee is over your ankle, and then your right hip is over your knee. And then we'll take this right hand over to the left knee. And then as you inhale, sweep your left hand forward and up, exhaling back and down. And just rotate a few times here through your shoulder, as well as feeling the torso twist and untwist. All right, as you take your left arm back, pause in the rotation, turn the head to look back toward that left thumb. Now, maybe the head doesn't turn all the way, but turn it as far as is comfortable and possible. 2 more breaths. All right, sweep the left hand forward. Both hands come to the floor. Step that right foot forward. So you come into your forward fold. Now take the feet a little bit wider than the hips to start. Bend the knees a little bit. Lay the torso on or close to the thighs. Release the weight of the head. Shake it yes and no. All right, walk your hands up the fronts of your legs. Rise up to stand. As you come to stand, take your feet about to hip distance apart. So a little bit closer together, but not by too much. Now, as you inhale, push your hips back, bend your knees a little bit, float the arms forward. Or if it feels all right in your shoulders, you can take your arms up alongside the head. Now, as you exhale, push into your heels, rise up, reach up through the crown of the head, and release your arms down. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, push the hips back, bend the knees a little bit, arms forward or up. Exhale, press through your heels, rising up, lift up through the crown of the head, release the arms down. All right, one more time, breathing in. And breathing out, rising up. All right, now this time, as you inhale, come into chair pose, as we did before. But now as you exhale, fold forward, take your hands to the floor, step both feet back, and we'll come into downward facing dog. So hips up into the air, heels lift and lower a few times. All right, release down to your knees, let them be close together. So this time it's the right side, so lift your right knee up and out to the side. Pause a moment to activate your foot. So you feel all the muscles in your right foot, or as many as possible, I should say. Activate and notice the impact on your hip as you do that. And then we'll start to rotate a couple of times in one direction. And a couple of times the opposite way. And so with your next inhale, reach your right foot back. Exhale, pull the right knee into the chest, rounding your back. Again, inhale, reach back. Exhale, knee into the chest. One more like that, breathing in. And breathing out. All right, as you take your right leg back this time, cross it over the left leg, drop the toes, curve the spine to the left, peeking back at that right foot, and then just sensing all the way up the right side of the body, from the foot to the hip to the shoulder. All right, as you bring your torso back to neutral, step your right foot forward to your right hand. Again, just stepping into a short lunge so that as you lift your torso up, you have your front knee over your ankle and your left hip over your knee. Then take that left hand across to the right knee. Sweep the right hand forward and up and back and down. Rotating a few times here through your shoulder, but also feeling and sensing the rotation of the torso. All right, now the next time that you take your right arm back, go ahead and pause in the twist. Turn your head to look back towards that right thumb. And again, the neck may or may not turn all the way, but turn it as far as is comfortable and possible. All right, now take the right hand forward. Both hands come to the floor. Step your left foot forward into that forward fold. Second time in this posture, you might decide to keep your knees bent. You might decide to start straightening the legs a little bit. But feel your way into it. See what feels good. Does it feel good to keep the knees bent in the forward fold? Does it feel good to straighten the legs? Does it feel good to let your hands grab your ankles, to grab a block? Or maybe your hands are grabbing your elbows. Take a few breaths here, just letting your head again be heavy. Face and jaw relaxed. All right, then begin to walk your hands up the fronts of your legs, rising up to stand. Now, as we come to stand this time, we'll do a standing breathing practice called Breath of Joy. I've done this one several times in recent classes. So you'll be breathing in 3 times as you take your arms forward, and then out, and then up. So breathing in 3 times through the nose. And then you'll breathe out 1 time through your mouth as you bend your knees, sweep your arms back, kind of like that chair pose we were doing a little bit ago at the top of the mat. So 1 full round of breath looks like this. All right. So we'll do this around 15, 20 times, something like that. I never count. It's in that range. So start with some awareness of your feet touching the floor, touching your sticky mat, perhaps. Have some buoyancy in your knees. So not really holding yourself rigidly, but softly. And let's begin. Last one. And now just pause with your knees still a little bit bent, your forearms resting on your thighs. Let your energy begin to settle a little bit here. This particular breathing practice often feels like you're in a paperweight that's been shook up, and you just need the snow to kind of settle back down. So give yourself a few moments, a few breaths. And then gradually rise back to stand. We'll step near the back of the mat, feet about hip distance apart. As you inhale, once again, find your chair pose, whether your arms are going forward or up alongside the head. Your knees are a little bent, but you're moving most of the weight back towards the heels rather than up in the balls of the feet. So heels are down, shifting your weight back. As you exhale, rise to stand, really push into your heels, lift the crown of the head up, release your arms. All right, 2 more times, breathing in. Breathing out. One more like that, breathing in. Breathing out. All right, this time inhale, come into your chair. And then exhale, fold over your legs, walk out to downward dog. Hips are up. Release the weight of your head. All right, release down to your knees. We'll again take them close together. Reach the left leg back in space. All right, so you're reaching back with the bottom of the foot as though that foot was touching a surface. So you might imagine that you're kicking a wall behind you. Essentially letting that lifted leg be strong rather than just hanging there, really pushing back through it. So left leg is back, then take the right arm forward. Begin to find your balance here. If you need to keep that right hand a little bit closer to the floor for balance, do it. Lift the arm if you can. If your arm is lifted, take it out to the side. And then right hand to low back. Maybe walk it up a little higher towards the shoulder blades if it goes that high. Keep that lifted leg strong. Has it fallen asleep or are you still kicking back? All right, right arm back out to the side. And forward. And then down to the floor. All right, now we'll take that left knee down to the floor. All right, take that right hand out to the side, deep breath in. Exhale and slide your right arm under your left arm, drop down onto your shoulder. All right, so if bringing your head down to rest as you do this is uncomfortable for your neck, you might need a little bit more space, in which case, put something under that lower shoulder, whether it's a block, a pillow, a bolster, whatever you might have. If you've got a surface underneath your shoulder, then your head and neck have a lot more room to hang out. If that's helpful and necessary for your body, do it. All right, we'll take 3 breaths. All right, and then after your 3rd breath, press down into your left hand, drag your right arm back. Hands back under shoulders, tuck the toes, lift back up into downward dog. All right, another inhale as you come forward, finding your plank pose, shoulders over the wrists, belly and legs engaged. Exhale, lift back into downward dog. All right, 2 more times. Inhale, come forward, find your plank pose. Exhale, lift back, downward dog. All right, 1 more time, breathing in, come forward. And breathing out, shift back. All right, now as you release down to your knees, we'll again take the knees close together. Reach the right leg back in space and imagine that you're kicking back behind you. That leg is very strong, not just hanging there, really reaching back. All right, then with the right leg going back, then you'll take your left arm forward. Now, again, if this is a little too much to balance, just keep your left hand closer to the floor if you need to. But if it feels fairly easy or just not too challenging, take the left arm forward. If your left arm is forward, experiment with other positions. Take your arm out to the side. Left hand to low back, or maybe scoot it up a little higher toward the shoulder blades. Keep that right leg reaching back. Left arm back out to the side. And forward. And down to the floor. Now let that right knee come down. This time it's left hand sweeping out to the side. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, slide your left arm underneath the right arm. Drop down onto your shoulder. Use the right hand to push into the floor as you turn your chest away from the floor. Remember, if your head and neck feel kind of crunchy when you're laying like that, just elevate the shoulder that's down so you have more space for your head and neck. All right, take 3 breaths. All right, so after your 3rd breath, press into your right hand, drag the left arm back. Hands back underneath the shoulders, tuck your toes, again lift up into downward dog. Inhale, shift forward, finding your plank pose, shoulders over wrists, belly and legs engaged. Exhale, shift back, finding down dog. 2 more times as you inhale, shift forward. Exhale, shifting back. And 1 more like that, breathing in and breathing out. As you release down to your knees, we'll sit back towards our feet, coming into child's pose. Remembering that as you come into this position of rest, your knees could be close together, they could be apart. If this position is not comfortable for either your knees, your ankles, or your hips, it's also fine to just flip the pose over. So lay on your back and hug your knees into your chest. That's where we're headed next anyway, so feel free to go there if that works better for your body. All right, take 3 breaths. All right, so after your 3rd breath, gradually bring yourself onto your back. And as you come onto your back, just start with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. And then we'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Bring the legs into the chest. Reach through for that left leg. So the right hand goes through the hole that you've made with your legs as you grab a hold of your left leg. And then just start to rock a bit from side to side as well as rotate through your left ankle. A couple of times in each direction. All right, and then we'll take the hands behind the left knee so the left leg is able to straighten up toward the ceiling. And then just start to reach up through your left heel as you actively pull the left toes down. And then point your toes up. Give a little stretch to the top of the foot, the front of the ankle, up into the shin a bit. Again, reach the heel up, pull the toes down. And one more time, point the toes up. So as you let your left foot and ankle relax, straighten your right leg up to join it. So right ankle's on top. Interlace the fingers. Hands go behind the head. Head and elbows rest on the floor. Now as you inhale, begin to lower your legs toward the floor. Trying to keep them relatively straight here, but stop before your feet touch the floor. Exhale and pull your legs back up. Now, if with that first one, if it was too much weight, just do the bottom leg, just do the left leg. So as you inhale, you're lowering your left leg. As you exhale, you're pulling it back up. All right? So whether you're doing one leg or both, 3 more. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. And 2 more. And last one. All right, let your legs uncross. Your feet come down to the floor. Step them as wide as the mat. And then just sway your knees from side to side. And really let your legs flop in and out as far as they're capable of doing. So that you really encourage your hips to relax, your belly to relax, your back, anything that might have been contracting, to do any of the poses that we've been doing so far. Give them a chance now to relax. All right, then come to relative stillness. Free the hands from behind the head. This time we cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Legs come in, reach through for that right leg. Rock a bit side to side. As well as rotate through your right ankle. A couple times each way. All right, now take the hands behind the right knee so the right leg can straighten up. Reach your heel up, pull your toes down. And then point your toes up. And stretching the top of the foot, front of the ankle, front of the shin. Again, heel reaches up, toes pull down. And once more, point the toes. So then as you let that right foot and ankle relax, straighten your left leg up to join it. So again, left ankle on top. Interlace the fingers, hands behind the head and elbows on the floor. Again, we'll lift and lower our legs. You can either do both legs together or just the lower leg, just the right leg, if both legs together is too heavy. All right, we'll do 4 of these. Inhale as you lower. Exhale as you lift. 3 more. Last 2. And last 1. All right, uncross the legs, feet to the floor, step them as wide as the mat. Again, sway the knees side to side. And we're stepping the feet as wide as the mat so the legs can flop in and out without bumping into each other. They can express their full range of motion. All right, one more full breath. All right, come to relative stillness. Release the hands from behind the head. And just pause for a moment, whatever your stillness looks like. You might have your legs straight. You might have your knees bent, kind of flopped in toward each other like I do. You could also have your feet together, your knees wide apart, flopping out to the side. And just take a moment to check back in with any physical sensation you're aware of, any thoughts, any emotions that are present for you. All right, now from here, go ahead and roll to one side. And press yourself up into a seated position. And so as we began, you may wish to sit on a cushion or just something to elevate your seat a little bit so that you can sit with a little bit more ease, with a little less effort. So for many of us, not all, but for many of us, if you sit directly on the floor, you kind of feel like you're slouching a little bit. But when you sit up on something, your knees have a little bit of space to kind of drop down and it feels more like you're upright. Could also be sitting in a chair if you want to. But as you sit up nice and tall, take a moment to relax your shoulders and sensing back into the body. We'll do a breathing practice here before we conclude our overall practice together. So this is called alternate nostril breathing. So the gist of it is that you breathe in through one side and then you breathe out the opposite side. You breathe in that new open side and then out the original side. So left to right and right to left. All right. So as you are doing this, you're blocking one nostril so that you can only breathe in through that one nostril or out. You're blocking your nostrils with your right hand. So take your right hand, bring your peace fingers in toward your palm so that you have your thumb and your ring finger to block your nostrils. So right thumb comes to the right nostril and then inhale through the left side. Close off the left, open the right, and exhale. Inhale, right side. Switch, exhale, left side. Inhale, left. Switch, exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. Inhale, right. And exhale, left. Now, as you release your right hand down, just allow the breath to flow in and out of whichever nostril it's going to go in and out of. And simply notice if you can sense a difference in the temperature between the breath flowing in and the breath flowing out. And sensing the coolness of the breath as it enters the body and the warmth of the breath as it exits. All right, so we'll bring our palms back together in front of the heart. As we bow to the light within ourselves, we also bow to the light within each other. Thank you again for practicing with me, whether you are joining me live or, excuse me, on the replay. See you again next time. Bye bye.